Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to the Week 6 weekly roundup here at the Cross Platform Baseball League. My name is Weaver for Prez, and joining me tonight, one of the co-commissioners of the league, Dwayne. How you doing, Dwayne? You're coming off an exciting match of the week evening we had last night. We're here in Week 7, the final week of Season 9. How's it going?
It's going great, Weaver. Like you said, electrifying matches last night were played. My heart honestly still racing from all the action. It was really, really fun. And yeah, we're here in Week 7. The playoff picture is really starting to shape up. Tons of action this season has already occurred and is yet to occur in the playoffs, and I'm sure I'm just as excited as all the rest of us.
Yeah, we're about a week away from this regular season being completed for both the XBL and the AAA. And of course, like you said, electrifying matches last night. There's going to be more this week, so stay tuned to our Discord. If you're not in the Discord, you can just scroll down, click the link, and join. And you can keep up with all the exciting action as we wrap up the season. But tonight, we're here to wrap up Week 6, which ended last night. So without further ado, let's get into it. Last week, we did not have any power rankings for you. We do have them tonight. We will start with the AAA rankings. And as you can see there at the bottom, a couple of promotions because of a DNF towards the top. So we've got the Anchors, the Holograms, the Wolfie Lions, and the Battle Tapes there as the bottom four.
Yeah, bottom four stands pat, like you see on the left there, the DNF causing two people to move up due to the lack of an 18th player now existing. But these guys all just geared up for their playoff runs, it looks like. Hopefully some wins come their way.
Yeah, and if you weren't familiar with how we do it here in the AAA, every single team makes the playoffs. So, the performances here that you see, some of these records, not too important. What's really important is whether or not you can get hot going into those playoffs. So we'll scroll on up here past the bottom four into 13, 12, 11. And as you can see, no movement there for the Vrooms or the Sicilians, who hold pat, but a big promotion out of Blue Panther and the Justice.
Yeah, really, really strong finish out of Blue Panther and his DC Justice. Really excited to see what he's going to put together in the playoffs and going forward now that he has a better handle, I think he mentioned, on his team building. So really excited for the Justice, really big promotion, so congratulations to him. And we've got 12, 13, and 14 looking good, like you said, going into the playoffs, kind of just staying where they're at. Should be some interesting matchups among them.
Yeah, Justice looking like a more dangerous seed than ever going into this final week, depending on where he lands. We'll get into the top 10 here, above Blue Panther. It is the NASA Knots, who, unfortunately for them, were swept last night on Match of the Week. They do get a promotion, however, 2 spots. One of those spots, of course, due to the DNF. The Atlantics and Unholy Yeezus down a spot, and then the Sirloins, Eduardo, gain a spot. They are in 8th place.
Yeah, some interesting stuff going on here. A tie actually there at the 9 spot with the Knots and the Atlantics outright on points. So they're both holding at 9, but they can't share that seed going into the playoffs. So it looks like the Atlantics are going to finish a little higher than Wishbone going into it. But either way, they both had pretty strong showings here, both extremely good power hitters. And there's Eduardo, at number 8. His pitching has carried him this far. He's finished up his season now, and I think he's got a big shout going into the playoffs for some upset.
And now we're going to start getting into where some of the bye weeks come in. No name, a couple promotions. It's all green here. Promotions all across the board. No name, Phillies Rock there is a strong number 6. And, of course, Phil, who looked great on Match of the Week last night, also took a split off of Corruptions, who you will see at the top of this list more than likely. They're at number 5.
Yeah, a lot of green, like you said, for these guys. Pretty good weeks overall. And they've had pretty good, strong 500 seasons. Phil, in his case, plus 500 right now, and looking great at that number 5 spot with a bye week pretty much locked in.
And then into the top 4, we shall see here. The Moons and the Takpies and the Moon Kingdom, they all move up 1 spot because of that DNF. And then Corruptions holding pat at 23-3, currently in Week 7. You could argue one of the if not the favorite to win the AAA World Series here in Season 9.
Yeah, this top 4 is as interesting as it gets. I think you could really pick any one of these teams to make a lot of noise going into the semifinals in the World Series. Obviously, there's more playoff to get through before that, but there's a strong chance we're going to see these teams towards the tail end of the tournament, and it's going to be anyone's ball game in no matter how it shakes up.
Yeah, all these teams here are a true threat, and as we've been saying, as been going up on the list, there's just so many potential matchups that could be upsets here and there. So very exciting to see how that shakes out. We'll move into the final list here of season 9 for the XBL. The Cardinals holding pat down there at the bottom has not been a great season, and then Alec AD just a huge demotion down into the 16 spot. Merz Drone holds at 15 and the J Boops actually gets a couple spots raised.
Yeah, like you said, the Cardinals picking up 4 wins here late to make that a 7-23 record, but really rough season overall for him. So finishing at 17, we'll see what's next for Card. Alec, his offense has really been lacking, so you can predict a big drop for him coming up this ranking week, and that's what he had unfortunately received. He was also eliminated from playoff contention today as well, so just a rough week overall for Alec. We're looking forward to how he does going forward, though. We know he can bounce back. Boops, though, looking good at 14. I think a raise for him was warranted because his offensive production has started to pick up.
Absolutely. And we'll check out the top 13. Remember, it's the top 12 who make it into the playoffs. So that 13th team is Doso, according to the League Office Power Rankings here. He would be on the outside looking in if this is how it shook out. Of course, Finite there, after splitting with you on the match of the week. He sits at number 12. Ted Danson finally back into a more stable spot, though.
Yeah, Ted at number 11 looking good now in a pretty safe playoff position. His chances are high to get into the tournament. All eyes are on Finite versus Doso coming up this week, though. I think the entire league is ready to see how this one plays out because it's going to say who gets in and out of the playoffs. Even Ted could be affected by that one.
Absolutely. Into the top 10 we go above Ted Danson. B. Hagen up to 10. I believe that's his highest ranking on the season. It's been a fantastic run for him ever since basically the halfway point of the season. The Stags and Bice there with Africa, they stand pat at number 8 and number 9, looking like dangerous middle of the table playoff teams.
Yes, all 3 of these teams are extremely dangerous going into the tournament. B. Hagen, congratulations to him coming out of AAA. A good showing in the playoffs down there last year, and now he's up here in a great playoff position, now locked into the playoffs for the XBL immediately after coming up from AAA. So really good showing from him, really great second half of the season. The Stags have been great, really just big game potential for Hummus this season. He's stolen a lot of games from guys that you would not have expected him to after the finish he had last season. So now the Stags are back in the playoff picture. And then, yeah, Government has a really favorable schedule going forward. So look for him to pick up even more wins. He picked up 2 more in addition to his 14 today. I think he's going to push himself up a little bit to get ready for the playoffs.
Yeah, looking to cement himself as the premier Xbox player in this league. If you didn't already believe him to be, so we'll go into the top 7 here. We'll see a couple familiar names with you and myself there at 7 and 6. A demotion for me. I was tied there at 5 with Luke. The tie has been broken. Luke, the victor of that little vote battle, he sits at number 5. And these are the teams that would get into the playoffs and host potential first round playoff games in just a week's time, but no bye weeks.
Yeah, as you can see, not a lot of movement, like you said, just breaking of the tie here between you and the Mallards. As things stand, though, Bice with those 2 wins today has pushed above number 7 and myself and the Pine Sox in the standings, so he's got that big home potential, and it's going to look good for him. And Luke's looking great at number 5. He has a huge series with Mike still on his plate, and that has a big part in determining who's going to be in number 4 and getting that bye in the playoffs.
Absolutely. Now into the top 4, no movement, but the strong top 4. These are the guys who get the bye weeks, as we'll explain in just a second when we go over the potential brackets. Mike the Cooch, Light Snack, Ashnod, and of course Lazy, the reigning champ, there at the top. Not a whole lot to say about these guys that we haven't said already.
Yeah, seriously, the offenses up here are all stacked out, including Potato Nation at number 4. Mike this week has bounced back big after taking a little bit of a week's break, and he's scored a ton of runs in his games, and I'm looking forward to how the Cooch Potatoes do going into the tournament. And then that top 3 is as dangerous as ever, and you can see all of them with 20-plus wins. There's really no stopping them. It's going to be anybody's ball game when we get into the tail end of the playoff tournament.
Absolutely. Cannot wait to get into that. So now we will go into the brackets part of the show that we've been doing for a couple weeks now. The AAA bracket is first, and this is not prospective. This is current and ongoing. You can see the reggaetoners neutralized the chill cats. The aeronauts took out the hikers. They have yet to begin their semifinal series. Hopefully, they'll that'll be going sometime this week. And then Piranhas Rise and Fall taking out Hogwarts Express, and he awaits the continuation of the series between Cougar and Tezzy there on the bottom right.
Yeah, Cougar and Tezzy at 2-1 now in that series, a 5-game series being played. So Game 4 could see the Heavy Ballers meeting the Piranhas in that semifinal. We will see. Either way, we're eager to see how this one shakes out, because I really think any of the 4 teams, or really 5 teams remaining, have a chance to win this World Series. The offense of the Reggaetoners has been nearly unstoppable, but the same goes for the Aeronauts. That's going to be a really high-powered matchup. And Rise and Fall, a lot of guys know him from Pennant Race, and he has a really great offense, and he's extremely, extremely proficient on the mound. So whoever he's up against is going to have a tough time, but again, winnable games there, and it should be interesting.
Should be interesting indeed. We'll see how Double-A, the first ever Double-A season, folds out. It is coming to a close. They are getting into the Final Four. We'll move on into the Triple-A playoff preview. So that bracket we just showed you was current and ongoing. This is prospective. Things can change here in the final week, but some of these matchups you see here are definitely going to happen. It just, we just don't know which ones. So we'll go down the list. Moon Kingdom, given the bye there in the top left bracket, they would await an opponent between the 4 of Sirloins, Anchors, Atlantics, Holograms. Good quadrant there. You can see the Rainy Moons part of the bracket below there. Yeah, you got the Moon Kingdom up and the Moons down. Phil and the Auditors would get a single bye. The Sicilians and the Battle Tapes there, looking for a shot at the Auditors. And then on the top right part of the bracket, the Corruptions double bye. He would look for an opponent between No Name and then the winner of Nassanauts and Wolfie Lions. That'd be a crazy good series there. And then, of course, the Takpies bracket, that's Kakaila. The Narwhals get a single bye. The Justice and the Vrooms would do battle there in the best of 3 round.
Yeah, these are some huge first-round matchups in the AAA if they shake out like this. Either way, even if the seedings are close, all the pairings sort of towards that middle are going to be really, really great watches. Like you said, particularly 10 and 15, Wishbone versus Wolfie, I think that's going to be a 3-game set that can go any way. Along with 11 and 14, Justice and the Vrooms down at the bottom. We just commended Panther for how great his season's been going. And the Vrooms have really had a pretty good second half resurgence as well. So I'm not sure how that one's going to shake out. And they get to face Phillies Rock. So that's a really interesting part of the bracket. On the left side...
Tell you what... go for it.
Go for it, Weaver.
I was going to say, I would keep my eye on the Moon Kingdom and the Moons. If they both perform, at like the double bye teams that they are, and they don't get upset, if they meet in the semifinals, that would be an insane match. That they just played their set a couple days ago, and it was actually a split. Moon Kingdom probably the best offensive team this season, and then Rainy the best pitcher. So that would be a barn burner.
Yeah, absolutely. All eyes would be on that series if number 1 and number 4 meet up in the semifinal. They're going to have to get through a couple of those guys down on the other side, like we were just saying, and some interesting matchups in the first round here, too, between the Sicilians and the Battle Tapes, and I would say the Atlantics and the Holograms. Ox has shown the potential to win a few big games when he hasn't been expected to, and the same goes for the Battle Tapes, but the Sicilians this season have had a great comeback.
Yeah, Sicilians definitely one of the better stories actually that we've been seeing unfold in the AAA. So we'll move on now to the XBL prospective bracket. This one a bit smaller than the AAA one. So you can see Lazy looking to repeat as 1 seed. I believe he has it all but locked in. Maybe not quite. It's going to be close. But if he is the 1 seed, he would await a winner between yourself, Dwayne, and fellow league office member No Hummus there with the Stags. Mike the Cooch looking to secure that number 4. He has to ward off Luke Archer there, who is currently the number 5, the Mallards, who, if the season ended today, would play Finite, who has been scratching and clawing to get his way in. He would be a very hungry opponent. And then, of course, Ashnod, the home run champ there in the top right, would wait for the winner of Bice versus Behagen, and then Light Snack and the Birdies would wait for the winner of myself versus Ted Danson, who is also looking to get into that playoff picture.
Yeah, this is a pretty strong likelihood that this bracket shakes out almost as is with little change, but we will see what happens by the end of the week. At 8 and 9, I'm pretty excited to be able to go up against Nahumus, and I think he can say the same. We've always been very even players. We had a great split earlier this season, and I look forward to meeting whoever in the playoffs at that 8 seed probably. But either way, I'm excited if it's him. At 5 and 12, like you said, finite scratching and clawing, a series versus Luke that he had this season that didn't really go his way. He could have won both of those games, I think. So in a 5-game set, that one has a lot of winnable potential for finite. But Luke is very staunch with his offense and his eye, so he'll be tough to get through. On the other side, Africa and Megafauna, that's another one, like we just said. B. Hagen's second half has been insane. Probably one of the best second halves we've seen in the XBL in recent seasons. So going up against Bison Africa in the first round will be a great challenge for him. And welcome Ted back to the playoff picture against you, Weaver. That would be a really interesting 6v11. I think that has the potential for a nice 4-5 gamer.
Yeah, it'd be fun. It'd be actually a rematch of the opening night broadcast that we had on this channel 7 weeks ago. All right, and so those are the prospective playoff brackets. Only a few days left until those are completely locked in, and we'll have another show for you in a week where we look over the actual playoff brackets and make some hard predictions. That'll be a lot of fun. But right now we'll get into the not top plays, the lowlights, if you will, from week 6, and it starts with one from myself, a heartbreaker for Beaver Nation, as I look to tie the game in the bottom of the 9th.
Oh,
and,
no!
No Hummus, the beneficiary of that barely foul ball.
Yeah,
baby.
He's had a pretty rough go of it this season. You've really been trying to light the fire underneath the poor guy, and he almost had one going for you there. Just,
Oh, no!
Success and failures, and that's baseball, baby.
Oh,
that
baby.
Is baseball, indeed. It can break your heart sometimes. And we'll go on to number 2, or not. They're not really ranked, but another heartbreaker. This one from the AA playoffs. A close game between Sitbof and Burr, playoff game. Sitbof looking to intentionally walk strategically. He places the cursor on the pitch out, seems to hit it reasonably well, and it just goes to the backstop.
Yeah, this clip took Reddit by storm this week, and I'm glad that Sitbof refreshed us to submit it, because this one just can't go without being honestly criticized. I mean, how does a catcher miss that ball? I don't really know. There's no explanation for this. It should never happen, but it did, and we get to talk about it here on Weekly Roundup. Congratulations to us, I guess.
Hopefully the Undead Cats have good optometry insurance. They got to get the catcher's eyes checked there. We'll get into the next play, which comes from No Name versus Unholy Yeezus. They played an incredible game, seemingly. It's 12-10 in the 9th. Back and forth. No Name tied it in the 9th, or the 8th, I believe. Yeezus went up big in his top of the 9th. And the game decides to crash 22 runs in.
Yeah, that's not Streamlabs having an issue there, as the player just completely slows down to a halt, standing on home plate facing the umpire. That is their game, petering out there in the 9th inning in one of the greatest games of the season, probably one of the game of the season candidates. The way they were playing it out. So really unfortunate finish to that, but kind of funny to just see him kind of slow mo. If it was a walk off, honestly, it'd be even better.
Yeah, they had a good laugh about it too. No Name was in good spirits on stream when this happened. And then what we deemed was probably the hardest to watch low light of the week. This was from the match of the week, Alec versus Cardiac. This was the second time this exact play happened in the game. Granted, it was Cardiac who messed up the first time, but this one, Alec messes up. It's an inside the park home run. It ends up winning the game.
Yeah, just a little bit of an Olay there in center field, and a great loop on this GIF as we see it one more time. Alec just hops right over the ball, and it heads into the furthest possible corner that it could get to in center field. Cardiac with enough speed to just get all the way around the bases. It's always great when you get the inside the Parker, but when you give it up, man, that stings.
Yeah, and I have to say, I don't think I've seen this before, and then all of a sudden, it seems like in the last 10 days I've seen it 50 times. I don't know what's going on there. The outfielder's getting a little happy. We'll get into the top plays of the week, the most exciting plays that we had submitted to us. And number 5 comes from yourself, Dwayne, only 24 short hours ago or so. JD, Junior Dong, taking the lead on a clutch home run.
Yeah, coming from behind, down 3 runs. This did not end up winning the game. It was fine. I tied the game in the 9th inning again, but that was on the way to winning it. A really big homer for me, and just glad to be able to include that.
Crushing that fastball. You can see, I believe that looked like 98 or 96 power. Perfect into that power alley. Number 4 play of the week, also from match of the week, but this was the weekday edition, so we had 2 nights worth of match of the week material to pull from, and it's Cardiac Card going deep, a 2-run shot with his pitcher.
Yeah, in a game, I believe that ended 2-0, or it might have been the 3-2 game. Either way, the games were close, and Cardiac, the runs were hard to come by, so to get one with your pitcher like this, he just squared it up perfectly. That's got to fire you up.
Absolutely. Anytime you rip one with, quote unquote, your worst hitter, well, not you don't need the quotes. The stat wise, it is your worst hitter. But anytime you can just rip it over that right field wall, it's very satisfying. So good job from Cardiac. And then into the number 3 play comes from the AAA. This is a walk-off home run off the bat of a batter for Wolfie Lyon. And you can see the score. He wins 5-4. He entered that bottom of the inning, I believe, down 3. So what a comeback.
Yeah, it was, I think, in the 9th when he brought the runs back, but capping off in the 10th with the walk-off. Either way, he crushes it to that right center field in Founders. It's always satisfying to get it over that little hump there into that dust-up ad area. Just great walk-off home run for Wolfie.
There's something very satisfying about pulling a home run, a no-doubt shot to right field and Founders. I don't know what it is, but yeah, it's just a beautiful clip there. Great comeback from Wolfie. That brings us to the number 2 play of the week, which comes from a very high-powered set played between Rainey and Pizza Volcano. And Rainey ends up robbing Pizza of a home run late in the game. I believe that's the 8th inning.
Yeah, and this game ended up being the one that Rainey wins in the split, so huge for him to make that catch when he did. It's tough to get over those high Sakura walls, so great timing. Have to have good fielding there in right field to get it done.
Yeah, you're right. This was a game that Rainey ended up winning. If memory serves, there ended up being a home run in the 9th, I think. So I think he won it by 1 run, making this play even bigger. I could be wrong on that, but I think that's what happened. So the number 1 play of the week, also from match of the week, also from the AAA. This is the Casino versus Tam Danitz match we had for you on the weekday version of match of the week. Tam gunning down the tying run at the plate in the bottom of the 9th.
Yeah, this was one I feel like everybody would have sent their runner from second base. Looking at that speed, it's going to be close in left field, and you have to bet on him making a perfect throw and the catcher not being able to handle the throw. But Tam just gets it done, probably a 99 throw. As you can see, the clip having a bit of an issue there. But the throw was perfect. It was on a line, and amazing number 1 play of the week.
Yeah, very hype moment. Congrats to Tam. I want to say that's his 2nd or 3rd, number 1 play of the week that we've had. So, props to him and playing good defense out there in clutch situations. That's all we have for you tonight, folks. Thank you all so much for tuning in to the Week 6 Weekly Roundup. We will have the same show for you in 1 week's time next Monday. Hopefully that will be the awards show, as well as looking at the playoff brackets. So stay tuned for that. It'll be fun. We will have more broadcasted games for you, hopefully on Sunday. So keep an eye out for that. If you're not in our Discord, please scroll down. Consider joining it. That's how you can really stay up to date with the going-ons in our community. I've been Weaver for Prez. Dwayne, why don't you take us out?
Thank you, Weaver. I hope everybody has a safe and pleasant evening. Thank you for joining us here for this production of the Cross-Platform Baseball League. Again, you guys, all our players, thank you very much for participating this season. We're here at the business end, so just get your games in. Let's lock in these seeds and get ready for the tournament. Thank you all for joining us tonight, and we'll see you next time.
Have a good night, everyone.